Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of ETV News' One-on-One, where I am joined by Eastern Connecticut alum and now content associate at ESPN, Nick Aconfora. Nick, let me be the first to welcome you to the brand new studio here at Eastern. Welcome back.
Yeah, this is beautiful. Obviously, the first time I've been here in the communication building, and happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So you worked with the news station that we have here, but you were the founder of ETV Sports, which is the sports broadcasting department we have on campus. And when you started, just to kind of give an overview, it was a headset, a microphone, and a laptop. So how did you first get into ETV Sports, and what gave you the idea to start it?
Well, I always like to say, although it's humbling to hear the founder of ETV, I give a lot of credit to Bob Malta and Paul Melmer and a bunch of others at the university for investing and putting in a lot of time. But, you know, for me, when I got to Eastern, it wasn't really anything. I mean, we were on that one camcorder on a laptop, and when I had first gotten here, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I was actually coming here for phys ed, believe it or not. I ended up going undeclared after that, and you know, I met with Bob Malta, got a job in the sports information office, and he had asked me, hey, do you want to try out broadcasting our basketball game for our tip-off tournament? I put the headset on, and after that, I didn't want to take it off, but not only that, I wanted to kind of build something, and over time, I was able to convince Paul, Bob, and others with the university to invest a little bit of money and get us our first NewTek TriCaster. At the time, it was still standard def, but you know, not only getting the equipment, but also finding the people to work with me and be just as committed as I was, and finding guys like Damon Gray and Brian Dostler who followed right behind me. You know, it was great to have those two guys really committed, such as yourself, Alex, as well, and a bunch of others. I can go on forever, but you know, I think it's the people that have continued to really carry it on from where it started. Like I said, funny to think a laptop and camcorder to see a 3-4 camera production to what it is today.
And by the way, we still have that old TriCaster up and running before we do the dual broadcast, believe it or not. But like mentioned before, you were also involved in the news program, which at the time was News 22, I believe. So what were some of the roles or some of the jobs that you did through the news broadcast?
You know, I think just like most students who come through Eastern, it was very similar to maybe what you did and what everyone does, and that's kind of get a feel for everything. So I was behind the camera, I produced, directed a little bit, but for me it was getting on air. I mean, that was my passion at the time. I was sports anchor for both the A team and B team, doing the live and tape shows. I did that for numerous semesters. I enjoyed it, but like I said, also try to get the idea of, you know, what's the behind the scenes like as well, which is actually where I ended up.
And at your time here, one of the main projects you did, and still to this day is one of the more reputable student-run and student-produced projects, the John D. Casanova story. Of course, John D. Casanova, a soccer player who did end up having cancer and had a less than 1% chance of living. And you did an unbelievable project that, as you touched on, went on to WFSB. So kind of take me through the producing of that project.
No, I appreciate the compliment. You know, working with Bob Malta and Damon Gray, it was crazy because we were here over the summer helping him out in the office, and we knew about John's story, and we thought about maybe doing a small written piece with a small video element to kind of complement it a little bit. But then as we started going and talking to the people we might have as guests and speak to, we kind of said to ourselves, this might be a little bit bigger than we had first imagined. And for us, the interviews were a great experience, but the biggest part about the documentary, and to this day I feel the same way about this and the Eastern Connecticut rugby piece that we also produced, was sharing the story. I think sharing John's story, sharing the story of the rugby team, you know, the adversity that both of them went through, can shed a light on something for maybe others who are out there who are fighting or maybe had lost someone like the rugby team did. So for us, it was all about sharing their stories, getting it out there, and again, kind of inspiring to a certain point. But you know, there's a lot of work put into it. There's a lot of people involved in both projects. I know Damon and my name were on them, but there are so many, you know, people who chipped in, and again, a list I can go on forever. But you know, a great experience, and really, I think for Damon and I, really kicked off what we knew we wanted to do moving forward, and that was work more behind the scenes, although we were both so used to being on air.
Right. And that piece is still on our YouTube page, and again, it's a tremendous story, which you did an unbelievable job with. So now, as mentioned before, you are a content associate at ESPN. So how did you first kind of get in touch with the people at ESPN, and when did you first start there?
Well, as you can imagine, getting in there is quite competitive. There's thousands of applicants every single day. So I actually had applied to a couple internships and came up empty. I had a couple phone interviews, nothing worked out, and I ended up, thankfully, after working, a couple basketball tournaments with the American Athletic Conference in Providence. I had been offered a job there. I was really excited, and I actually moved to Providence for about a month and a half before I got a call from ESPN for a job that I had probably applied to a couple months prior. I finally heard back, and I immediately jumped on it. I thought the people at the American were great. They were very understanding. They knew the opportunity came up, and I had to run with it. And, ever since I got there, it's been a great 4 years. I'm coming up on 4 years in August, and yeah, I mean, every moment, every single day I'm there, I enjoy it. No complaints, to say the least.
So going back to when you started it, and you look at the alumni that you've kind of brought in here that are not ESPN. You mentioned guys like Brian Dossler, Damon Gray, Lupe Marquez, Adam Shepard, and now most recently, who's actually still a student here, Alex Gabriel. What's it like to you looking at a program you created and the people that have gone through it and are now at ESPN? What's that like to you?
Again, a testament to Bob and Paul. I don't mean to, take it off myself, but a lot of credit to them and Dr. Otterback and a lot of other people who helped, the program grow. But it's rewarding to me. It really is. For me to have come here not knowing what I wanted to do and be a small part of creating something that's become so large and, in a sense, kind of create a pipeline from Eastern Connecticut to ESPN, where we do have a lot of graduates that work there, but more on the technical side of things. And I know Paul Melmer has spoken with you guys about that, but to get people on the content side of things, which is something that we haven't had much success with, or a lot of graduates land. To me, it's just really rewarding. I think something I've learned throughout my career, this being at Eastern and also being at ESPN, is you always want the person that's taking over for you to be better than you. That's a testament to the hard work that you put in, but also a testament to their dedication. And I think I could say the same thing, or I could say that about Damon, who took over when I had left. Same thing with Brian, and moving forward with Alex and yourself. And to see it continuing moving onward, and the university, investing in it and really caring about what you guys are doing, I think is really, really great.
And in August, I believe you'll be at ESPN officially for 4 years now. You've had a number of different stories that you've done. And with that ESPN, there's so many potential of so many different stories you could do with so many different sports. But most recently, you had a part in the Calhoun Project. And I guess for you, in a sense, you've been a UConn basketball fan your whole life. And the fact, did it hold a little bit more true to you and a little bit more special that you got to work on this piece with Jim Calhoun, to a guy in a program that has been a part of your life really since you started watching sports?
Yeah, and it was funny because when I first heard that he was even becoming head coach, I kind of shook my head. I think just like everyone, is this real? But a lot of credit to John Minton and Dan Lindbergh, two of the best producers in the business I got to work with on this piece. And John actually being a UConn graduate who had a personal connection with Jim Calhoun. So just as much as it was for me, it was just as special to him. And working on the project, being able to go on shoots, for me, going back to the D3 world and being at games in the D3 level, people might laugh, but I think the games are just exciting. It's great to be in that atmosphere. So being in West Hartford and being around those games, being at a conference championship at the D3 level again was awesome. The experience between going out and shooting, working on interviews, working in the edits, and working on trailers and digital, pieces, and also learning, like I said, from two of the better producers in the company. I was really fortunate and thankful for the opportunity.
So going out off of the Calhoun Project, you've also done a number of other projects with ESPN. What are some of the ones that stand out to you in your career at ESPN?
A franchise that was created by Blake Foman, one of the associate producers of the 60, the Tell Me a Story franchise, which is basically animated shorts, stories you may not hear every single day from athletes, coaches, actors, so on and so forth. I actually had the opportunity to interview Karan Butler, Richard Jefferson, Gino Auriemma, Dabo Sweeney, and with some of those pieces, being able to work with animators within the company and put together short stories. Dabo Sweeney's being on his first car that was wrecked. Karan Butler talking about his habit with chewing straws during games, and a lot of great opportunities. Being able to interview people I would have never thought in my wildest dreams I'd be able to sit down and talk to.
So now to kind of wrap it up, you've been a college student that's gone through and really created a program. Is some advice that you would give to college students who want to get into the sports broadcasting field?
I think it's something that I've harped on while I was here, and now that I'm gone, is really just trying to be as versatile as possible. The on-air stuff is great, and I was really passionate about it, but I realized quickly that in this profession, not to discourage anyone, you could definitely be on air, but having the ability to produce content, edit content, shoot content, write, I think writing is kind of a lost art in the business. A lot of people don't realize how important it is. Just hone in as many skills as you can, and I think if any student is willing to do that, they're going to put themselves in the right situation moving forward.
Well, once again, I'm joined by the founder of ETV Sports, now content associate at ESPN, Nick Aconfora. Nick, thanks again for the time.
Thanks so much.